Fellas, it's real. It's actually happening. It's real. We're getting a Dokkan Fest Mercenary Tao for the end of May. I'm sick to my stomach. I was asleep last night. I missed this whole thing. I woke up so happy. I was feeling good. Then I saw this, and now my heart is in my stomach. I am sick right now. But we gotta do our duty today. Today, we're gonna go ahead and break down his animations, break down his kit details, and his Sidebanner kit details as well, because apparently we're getting Sidebanner General Blue. We're gonna go ahead and look at all that stuff so that we can understand how good these characters are gonna be in-game in a few days when they release. So, yeah, this is gonna be very insane. I know this isn't the best intro to the channel, by the way, guys, but of course, welcome back to the channel. Of course, if you're new to the channel, welcome. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and break down these characters and see what they're capable of, because I have seen some different opinions about Tao. I saw some people saying that he is just an amazing TOR, probably the best TOR in the game. I saw some other people saying that he is just not that good. He's going to be very disappointing. I don't know how much of it is glaze and how much of it is hate from the different sides of like the community, but this is just very insane for sure. I know some people were hoping for like Shallot and Diamond stuff. We're getting Tao. It is what it is. We're getting Tao. I will say later in the vid, this is probably one of the best things that could happen from a specific kind of point of view, but yeah, this is very interesting for sure. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and check out his kit and everything. I hope you guys are excited. Of course, hope you guys will enjoy the video. If you do, show your support down below, drop a like down below, or subscribe to the channel, and also comment down below your thoughts. Let us know, what do you guys think about the choice of a Mercenary Tao Dokkan Fest? I know we've been playing the game for a long time now, post like 10 years and everything, so we're probably due for like a Tao Dokkan Fest, but still, it feels weird to see it happen, especially at this point in time, like after the Golden Week celebration. So let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So first thing we'll do is we'll check out the animations, then we'll go ahead and look at the actual kits. So let's see what these animations are. Of course, gonna start off with General Blue, so that's fine. The vein bulge is insane, but actually, I mean, for Dragon Ball, this is actually pretty good quality. Wow, that's actually very good quality. Whoa, this is crazy. Okay, okay, that was kind of a bit shoddy. The punch was kind of shoddy, but the step up was really cool. Not the laugh. The laugh is crazy. All right, now we got Tao. So it looks like he's got an intro. Bro just yeeted the stick. This, okay, first of all, this could they have not done like a better teaser for this? Because this, I guess looking at that shot, it does kind of look similar to the stick in the actual teaser, but yeah, it's just weird. Got the intro though, nice. That's, oh, he's countering this, or he's evading this at least. Yeah, he's kind of, ooh, the tongue crack. Ooh, that's actually very fire. They did, because in the actual show, I believe, they actually show the crack on General Blue's mind, but you can't do it that way, I guess, because it would look wonky, but yeah, that's clean. The hair smack, that's crazy. Why do I have to beat my boy Goku like that, though? Like, why do you gotta do that to him? I know it's canon, I know it's what happened, but still, that's crazy. Alright, so 12 key super, he's only a Dokkan Fest, so he's gonna be doing that. Active skill here. Did he say, wait, did he say he's seriously serious? I have to come back to that. Hold on. I think I just missed that. Got the Dodon Ray. And the smirk, that's pretty fire, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, we have to focus on the most important thing. Did he say what I think he said? He did it! He did it, chat! He did a chat. Well, I'm not streaming. I haven't done a stream yet in my channel. Guys, he is actually saying it. This time he's seriously serious. Why is this a meme? Why is this the thing that Dokkan is perpetuating now? First it was like all the other stuff. We had We Saiyans Have No Limits. Now we're getting seriously serious. I swear, Dokkan is ready for TikTok. They're ready for the TikTok memes. They're ready for this. Oh my goodness, this is insane. I will say the animations are pretty fire, but you know, not the craziest animations to pull from because it's OG Dragon Ball, but they're actually pretty decent quality. You know, the tongue cracking and everything, that's pretty cool. Of course, you know, General Blue with the step up is nice. The hair flick on the hit, that's really awesome too. It's all sorts of stuff. Okay, let's focus on the important stuff. So let's talk about Mercenary Tao. We'll talk about his Sidebanner character in just a sec. We'll talk about some other stuff as well. But let's talk about the character, because that's the most important thing. So Mercenary Tao, a physical type character, obviously extreme physical because he's a villain. So he's gonna have 55% hidden potential built in with the additionals and everything. So that's gonna be really awesome stuff there. So with his category lead, he has a new category, it would seem, added to the game. So mission execution, we'll have to see what that's gonna have to offer when the day of download takes place. But mission execution, also leading Earthbred fighters for that post 10th anniversary buff lead, plus additional 50% for characters also in Dragon Ball Seekers or Earthlings. So, you know, pretty decent lead, I would say that. We know what Earthbred Fighters has to offer. That's a really powerful category because, you know, with Earthbred Fighters, you are including 5 of the 6 10th anniversary LRs. So you could actually run the 10th anniversary LRs with Tao as the leader. That's actually kind of pretty funny. And, I mean, you wouldn't get a lot of the buffs with the extra 50% because a lot of them are not Dragon Ball Seekers or Earthlings, but still, you could get the main part of it covered, so that's pretty funny. We'll have to see what mission execution has to offer. If it's just villains who are just like, you know, mass, like, you know, crazy, like, villains, like, type of stuff, like Frieza, for example, like wiping out species, then I could see some pretty interesting characters filling into the spots, like Kid Buu and stuff. But if it's just like specific to like OG Dragon Ball characters or more like assassins or something, I don't know how many characters will fit into it. I think Hit will fit into this, but yeah, it's going to be weird to see how it's going to work. Okay, so we got that. Let's see what the passive skill can do. So we saw the intro, of course, can be done when there's another mission execution category ally on the team upon his entry. When that happens, for the first turn, he will randomly change key spheres of a certain type other than physical orbs, his type of orbs, to rainbow key spheres and stun all enemies for 1 turn guaranteed. So that's going to happen. Also, for 1 turn going for the rest of the fight, he'll boost his attack by 100% and boost his crit chance and damage reduction by 50%. That is incredibly powerful. Understand, this is permanent, so you have to get this intro condition up if you want to get pretty much probably one of the most important things about his kit, it would seem. So you really do want to get that. With his basic effects, 200% to stats, key +2, 30% damage reduction flat out in general, medium chance of performing a crit, so that's going to be really good right there. When attacking with 12 more key, boosting attack by 200%. For every rainbow key sphere obtained, he's boosting attack by 200%. Again, when attacking, we'll come back to that in just a sec. When receiving an attack, defense plus 200%. When receiving an unarmed super, basically a melee super attack, right? He'll be having a great chance to nullify and countering with tremendous power, as we saw, doing that tongue spin, going crazy like that. So he can do that. And when the target enemy is in the following status, which is a stun status, he will be able to boost his attack again by 500%, do a guaranteed crit, and also boost his attack again by 500% on top of that when HP is 70% or less. This guy's actually kind of pretty funny in terms of what he can do. So yeah, it's got some interesting stuff in his kit. I will say right now, the most important thing, clearly to me, is this. You have to get his intro, because if you're missing out on 50% damage reduction, he is not going to perform good for you. Like, let's be for real. There are characters who are LRs and like actual top level characters in this game with 50% damage reduction, 60% damage reduction in guard and stuff. They can still take some damage from the hard content. So if you're having a character like this, you need 80%, because 30% is not going to cut it. So you need the intro. Should be pretty easy to do. You just need one other execution category ally on the team. So you just need one other person, and that should work. I believe a friend Tao should like qualify for that, but I mean, it's like pretty straightforward there. But yeah, you get that. That's gonna be really awesome. The 50% boost to both will kind of make, I think it should make the damage reduction and the critical chance both 80%, because the medium chance should be 30% in total. So 80% crit chance right there with the intro and everything, 80% damage reduction. Pretty good stuff. This is kind of reminding me of like HO Golden Frieza in that sense. The attack percentages though, that's really crazy. So I mean, he's got a bunch of attack to offer. This is what I want to key on right here. So for every rainbow key sphere obtaining, he's boosting his attack. Now in total, you can only get up to 5 rainbow key spheres on average. You probably could expect like 2 to 4, but being able to have that sort of attack boosting, that is incredibly powerful. I would not be surprised if this guy can do some pretty crazy damage numbers for a TUR specifically, especially one that apparently doesn't seem to be able to stack, right? He's only able to massively raise attack for 1 turn, cause immense damage. Doesn't look like he can boost his defense. We'll see that in a bit more detail in just a sec, but not being able to boost defense, that is a bit of a negative. Obviously, he's focused on the attack, so that's fine, but it does remind me of like Cell Max, where Cell Max, we know he was pretty dominant, but the thing I did not like about Cell Max too much was he didn't have the defensive boost in his super, which was pretty important, because sometimes even post-super, he was not able to tank as well as you would like him to. So you know, we'll have to see how things kind of go from there. All right, with the active skill, so the Serious Dodon Ray, where he becomes seriously serious, of course, can be done when there's a Dragon Ball Seekers or category or Kamehameha category enemy, or when all allies attacking in the same turn are mission execution category characters. So obviously you can only do it for 1 time, but yeah, pretty straightforward right there. When doing the active, cause ultimate damage and stun the enemy for 1 turn. Change STR or key spheres into rainbow orbs. That's actually really good, because that's going to help and trigger his attack damage percentages for that turn. Yeah, that's going to be a pretty powerful active in terms of setting himself up. So that's going to be really awesome. Also, I didn't really think about it, but he is actually going to be a really good support technically for potentially AGL Super Gogeta from the 10th anniversary, because with Gogeta, for example, if you remember, he is able to get rainbow key spheres on his active. He could do a bunch of support. Also, he wants rainbow key spheres of his own to be able to do his own attack boosting, so he could be a pretty interesting pair up with Gogeta on the support and everything. So yeah, that could be pretty awesome. Let's look at the categories and everything. So mission execution, of course, that new category, we'll have to wait and see what it's going to have to offer. Earthbred Fighters, Dragon Ball Seekers, Earthlings, Dragon Ball Saga, Siblings Bond, Target Goku, and Sworn Enemies. So some decent categories, of course, like Earthbred Fighters. Dragon Ball Saga is, I think, getting a pretty good amount better. I was like, before this like came out, I was like, Dragon Ball Saga is kind of average, but now I think it's going to be on like a pretty good kind of level, because like you can just work all those characters together. Mission execution, hopefully it's going to be pretty good. I think it's going to be decent at minimum, but we'll wait and see. You know, Sworn Enemies have some cool characters, but yeah, so pretty straightforward stuff right there. Okay, the last thing to cover is that super attack effect. So we saw it was only massively raising attack, but for sure now we can see causes mass damage to the enemy and lowers attack and defense. There is no defensive focus on his end for a super attack effect, only debuffing the opponent, which, by the way, this is great and all. Sometimes this won't exactly work. So when this is not able to work, then you're losing a good amount of value, I would say, from the debuffing. But, you know, melee type super, massive raising attack, with all the attack percentage he can do, I think he's going to be a pretty fun character for sure. We'll have to talk about Halvard's calculations in a sec, because I think those had some interesting things to show. But yeah, he's going to be a pretty fun character, going to be a bit gimmicky. I'm not going to go so far as to say he's going to be trash yet. I want to wait to see how he performs in game, but you know, I think he's actually going to have a lot of value in that sense. All right, let's go ahead and move on to General Blue, right? General Blue, the side banner character on this banner. We don't know what the banner is going to look like, but I will say right now, this banner is going to have some interesting characters probably fit onto this banner as a whole. But okay, so with General Blue, 130% lead for mission execution in Dragon Ball Saga. They really should update the side banner leads and everything, because we have like a boost for the main leads. We should get a side banner buff at this point with the leads, but it is what it is. For the passive skill, this is a lot of text actually right here. So attack and defense 200%, boosting mission execution category allies with key +2, and attack and defense +40%. So a really nice bit of support right there. Randomly change key spheres of a certain type to rainbow key spheres. A fantastic support for Mercenary Tao already. One attack and total more key, attack and defense 150%. As the second or third slot character, launch additional guaranteed super. Great chance to dodge right there, and also 200% again to attack and defense. When there is another mission execution or Dragon Ball Saga ally in the same turn, he's further boosting a dodge chance by 10%, guaranteed sealing the attacked enemy super for 2 turns, and boosting all allies attack and defense by 30% for 2 turns. Also, when there's a Peppy Gals category enemy, he will guard all attacks and perform a critical hit. So not too many Peppy Gals category enemies that you have to worry about necessarily, but I mean, yeah, that does suck. That's probably the worst thing about him, is that he has this kind of condition right here, because there's not really that many like prominent Peppy Gals category enemies in that sense. So having the guard is cool, potentially guaranteed crit is cool, but yeah, not something I'm really too happy about in that sense. Also, I forgot to mention, he's an extreme tech type character, so because he's tech, he's gonna have built-in crits at the 55% hidden potential level. So obviously got crit right there, but mostly he is a dodge or die type of character and wants to be slot 2 or slot 3. Obviously you could keep him slot 2 with Mercenary Tao, in which case then he'll be able to give 2 turns of support, you know, just keep on showing up and everything. So that could be pretty powerful, and in fact, I believe if the way this works, the second turn that he shows up, he'll be giving even more support, right? So that could be pretty strong in and of itself, or actually maybe not, but it'll be interesting to see how it works. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think this character is going to be very powerful. I think he's going to be really awesome. I think he's gonna unfortunately be relegated to short form content though. I don't see a lot of justification for him in certain red zones, where a lot of red zones nowadays, they do dodge canceling. Those situations really do suck. The only solution outside of dodge canceling is either you bring characters who don't need dodge in the first place, or you have to bring Tech UI Goku, because Tech UI Goku is the only hope for re-enabling dodge. So in that sense, yeah, it's gonna be kind of tricky to run him in those kind of fights, but I think he'll be pretty fun in like the short form content, like ESPR stages lately, which are kind of difficult nowadays, and also like Battlehorn Formidable Foes. So I think it'll be pretty fun right there. I'm excited to see what the support can do. I think that's going to be really important stuff right there. All right, let's keep going. No active skill for this character. Unfortunately, we saw that on the on his old kind of animations. There was nothing there. By the way, I didn't even notice the passive skill name. Women Heard Disgusting. That is crazy name. I don't know who came up with the kit names for this, but someone was feeling some type of way when they made up this kit design. I guess it is kind of in line with his character, but still, it's just funny to me. All right, mission execution, Dragon Ball Saga, Dragon Ball Seekers, Terrifying Conquerors, Inhuman Deeds, Earthlings, and Earthbred Fighters. So again, some good categories there. Dragon Ball Saga, I would say, is pretty good now. Earthbred Fighters, of course, awesome category. Terrifying Conquerors has some cool characters. I don't know if it's come together quite yet, but you know, you got some other stuff there, and we'll have to see what mission execution has to offer. I think it's going to be probably mainly focusing on assassins, probably not even someone like Frieza, but you know, if it's going to include characters like Hit and stuff, I think there could be some good potential in that sense. But okay, let's keep going. All right, last thing, the super attack effect. So with General Blue, he's raising attack and defense for 1 turn, cause supreme damage with a high chance to stun the enemy. So that built-in stuff right there, melee super. So yeah, pretty straightforward stuff. All right, I'll say right now, so talking about these 2 characters, Tao seems pretty good. Like, I think he'll be pretty good, but there are going to be a lot of situations where I could see him like faltering, I feel like, depending on where you take him. General Blue, I feel the same way, where I feel like, especially with Blue, he is being kind of gate-kept into certain types of content and not into other types of content because of how his kit is designed, how certain bosses work nowadays. I feel like he's a bit more limited into shorter form content than Mercenary Tao, but I think both are going to want to work in that type of focus. So it's going to be very interesting right there. Let's go ahead and look at Halvard's calculations though, because this is something that caught a lot of people's attention. So with Mercenary Tao, without the support after receiving attack, all this stuff, Halvard is a beast when it comes to these calculations. I wish I could do math like him. I probably could, but I just don't have the ability to do it because my brain power doesn't work like that. But you know, with his kind of whole thing going right here, you see how he's getting the math and everything done. He is going to be having a max possible defense of 692,000, almost 700,000 defense. Now, this on paper looks pathetic. This looks pretty bad, and I know it's bad because Abu quoted this and said 600k and just started laughing his ass off. So you have that. You have people kind of just like, oh boy and stuff, but we have to understand he still has 80% DR. and or damage reduction. So 600 or 600 like thousand stats and everything, that is not the craziest, but 80% damage reduction can do a lot to make up for it. So I think we'll have to wait and see, of course, how he's going to perform, but he does seem like a character where either he's going to be insanely great or very disappointing. I feel like there's going to be like no real allowing for like an average kind of thing for him. He's going to like overachieve expectations or underachieve. I feel like that's going to be the thing about Mercenary Tao. So it's going to be interesting there. With General Blue, I really don't see a lot of things being said about him as much. Obviously, he has much more defense, 1.7 million defense. So yeah, I mean, he's got a lot more defense to offer than Mercenary Tao. If he like swapped defenses with Tao, I feel like Tao could easily be argued as the #1 TUR because he's a tanking character with an insane amount of defense. But yeah, I mean, I guess the way to balance things is to make sure Tao doesn't have a lot of defense on top of his 80% damage reduction, because that would basically mean he just takes over Beast Gohan's role without even like needing anything. Like he wouldn't even need to necessarily like have half of like, he wouldn't even need to have good teammates. He would just need to have like good characters on his team and all. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure. But this is the last thing I want to cover before we talk about the what, like, if you should summon. The last thing I want to cover is this motherfucking piece of shit right here. Actually, I'm just kidding. I love you, Vector, but this guy is gonna be such an ass for like the next, like, if you guys have been on Twitter for like the past, if you've been on Twitter today, you will see that this guy has been going crazy. He's just been reposting, talking about saving 2025 Dokkan, like we didn't just have the 10th anniversary and all this other stuff going on in the past that did some great stuff. I mean, he, like, this isn't his post, he reposted it, but whatever. Vector is going crazy right now, just going so happy right now. He's on another one. I would not be surprised if this guy, look at this man, he's a freak. This is a freak right here for OG Dragon Ball. And he's already changed his profile pic. He's already done all the necessary things to do his work. So this guy's a freak. I mean, brother. Okay, so, okay. The thing is, I am anticipating that Vector is doing possibly every single Fortnite dance in his house. Like, I would not be surprised if he's just like if you guys have watched Risky Business, like a very old movie or something, there's like that one dance from Tom Cruise where like he slides out the back. Maybe I'll put it on like the screen or something if I edit and you remember this. I expect Vector to be doing that. Like, he's gonna be doing some really stupid shit in his house, just happy as fuck. And I respect it, because he's a Tao fan, I believe, or like he's an OG Dragon Ball fan, so I respect that. But yeah, I mean, it's hilarious. I can't stop laughing because of oh, like, okay, this is funny. I'm sorry. Okay, let me get back on track. I need to be more professional for you guys. I gotta be professional. Okay, so let's talk about Tao and General Blue. Should you summon on these characters? Now, I said it in my last vid when we talked about the teaser. These two characters, now Tao can be pretty good. I think it's actually gonna be a lot better than I anticipated, but I think he's still gonna be a skip for me nonetheless, and he probably should be a skip for a lot of people nonetheless anyways, because yes, he could still be good. However, he is kind of in a similar position, I feel like, to STR Cell, where their banners are kind of baiting us to like spend stones and everything as we go into the next big celebration. And don't forget, the next big celebration is the global Dokkan campaign, not just a random, campaign or celebration. It's the global Dokkan campaign, the first of its kind, the first one to like, exist and everything, and it's supposed to be on a scale similar to the anniversaries. So if it's on that type of scale, it should have a lot of great characters, a lot of hype characters, a lot of cool characters who fit with each other on a great theme, and they all should be pretty damn powerful. So all those things in mind, it really seems like the most logical thing to do is to skip these banners and then to just go into the global Dokkan campaign and move forward from there. But that's just my thoughts on the whole kind of situation. I'll do another kind of should you summon when his banner actually is live, when we can see the banner and stuff. Well, yeah, this is very interesting for sure. So yeah, it's gonna be very interesting as a whole. I'm excited for this character to see how he can perform in game. I'm not gonna like say I'm hyped for him, because I'm not. Like, I'm probably near the furthest thing from, but like, yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting. I will say right now, before we end the vid, if we got like Tarble, I'd probably be more hyped for Tarble than Tao. That's tough to say, because Tao is like a menacing villain in OG Dragon Ball to start, but I might be more hyped for Tarble personally. Maybe that just speaks to my bias, but I feel like that right now. But yeah, it's gonna be fun for sure. I can't wait to see what Vector's gonna say, because I know he's gonna be glazing like no one's gonna. He's gonna be on Mercenary Tao's stick for the rest of the his celebration or his campaign or whatever. It's gonna be hilarious. But okay, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about the new characters and the kits and everything. What do you guys think again about Mercenary Tao being our next Dokkan Fest? If you guys enjoyed the video, again, drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel, all this sort of stuff. Thank you all so much for watching the video. Take care, stay blessed, and I will see you all in the next one.